The obsidian throne chamber of Aurelian Reach shimmered with slow-moving constellations, its walls alive with starlight trapped in crystalline veins. Empress Veilora sat above them all, her elongated form draped in ceremonial light silk, 6 eyes fixed on the lone human below with open amusement. Captain Elias Moore of the Terran Expeditionary Fleet stood straight despite the burns along his uniform and the dull ache in his ribs. His scout vessel had limped into restricted space after a navigation failure, and now his fate rested in the hands of an immortal ruler who had watched empires rise and fall like tides. "You request mercy," Veilora said, her voice chiming softly through the chamber. "Safe passage. Survival for your crew. Bold desires for a species barely acknowledged on the galactic stage." "It was an accident, Your Radiance," Elias replied evenly. "We meant no trespass. Only to return home." The Empress descended from her throne, each step measured, predatory. "Your species fascinates me. Humans endure worlds that should have erased them. You survive catastrophe, famine, war. Yet you arrive here fragile, unarmed, hopeful." Elias remained silent. He had learned that powerful beings spoke most when they wished to hear themselves. "I propose amusement," Veilora continued. "Within my menagerie lives a creature drawn from the abyss between systems. It has slaughtered my guards, shattered containment, and refuses all control. My scholars call it untamable." Murmurs rippled through the court. "Tame it," the Empress said lightly. "Make it accept your presence. Do this, and I grant you dominion over this planet and its satellites. Fail, and your bones will join those already scattered in its enclosure." Gasps echoed. An advisor protested, but Veilora silenced him with a raised hand. "I grow bored of power untested." Elias felt the weight of his crew's lives press against his chest. One planet could change humanity's future. Refusal would doom them all. "I accept," he said. Veelora's smile widened. "Excellent. Tomorrow, you face the beast." As Elias was escorted away, the Empress watched with keen interest. Either the human would perish or something far more entertaining would occur. For the first time in centuries, anticipation stirred within her ancient heart. Sleep came in fragments. Elias spent the night studying the sparse data his hosts allowed him to access, replaying images and reports until dawnlight spilled across the alien sky. The creature was known as a dreadmaw, native to a collapsed world where gravity twisted and storms never ended. 4 meters tall, plated in shadow-dark scales, capable of tearing alloy doors apart. Intelligence approximated that of higher Earth mammals. 17 handlers dead. No survivors. At sunrise, guards escorted him through the Grand Menagerie, a sprawling complex housing ecosystems stolen from 100 worlds. Creatures howled, screeched, and watched from behind energy fields as Elias passed. Finally, they reached a vast containment chamber sealed with reinforced barriers and emergency kill systems. Veilora observed from above, reclining comfortably. "I give you no weapons," she announced. "Violence has failed us." The airlock opened. Elias stepped inside. The chamber was dim, illuminated by bioluminescent veins along the floor. The sound of slow, heavy breathing rolled through the darkness. Elias felt every survival instinct scream at him to flee, but he forced himself to stop, to breathe. "Hello," he said quietly. From the shadows emerged the dreadmaw. Its eyes burned faintly, fixed on him. Massive claws scraped metal. Heat radiated from its body like a living furnace. Elias lowered himself carefully to the ground, sitting cross-legged, making himself smaller. He avoided staring directly, keeping his gaze soft. He spoke gently, not expecting understanding, but offering presence. "They hurt you," he said. "Tried to control you. I won't." The creature circled him once, close enough that Elias could smell ozone and iron. A claw hovered inches from his face. He did not move. "I grew up after the Flood Wars," Elias continued. Lost everything. Fear makes monsters of us all. Time stretched. Minutes passed. The Dreadmaw's breathing slowed. From the observation deck, Veilora leaned forward, her amusement fading into focus. This was not dominance. This was patience. Elias slowly raised his hand, palm open, stopping halfway. He waited. The Dreadmaw lowered its head and pressed it gently against his palm. A hush fell over the menagerie. The beast's scales were warm, vibrating with restrained power. Elias felt its pulse, wild but steady. He rested his hand lightly, offering trust without demand. Above, the Empress stood in silence, watching something she had never witnessed before. A predator choosing calm over violence. For an hour, Elias remained inside the chamber. He spoke rarely, allowing silence to settle like a shared language. The Dreadmaw circled him, then eventually lay beside him, its massive frame coiling protectively rather than aggressively. The monitors showed stress levels dropping, heart rhythm stabilizing. Chaos erupted in the observation deck. Scientists argued. Nobles shouted. Veilora said nothing. When the chamber doors finally opened, Elias emerged slowly, exhaustion lining his face. The Dreadmaw watched him go, emitting a low sound that resonated through the walls, not a threat, but something almost mournful. Veilora descended the steps, her expression unreadable. "Explain," she said. Elias met her gaze. "You tried to conquer it. I treated it as a living being." The Empress studied the creature behind the glass, then the human before her. "We are taught that strength is control. On Earth," Elias replied, "we learned that control breaks things. Understanding holds them together." Silence followed. Then Veilora extended one hand. "A wager is a wager. This world is yours." Shock rippled through the court. "But I have a condition," Elias said carefully. "The Dreadmaw comes with us. It deserves more than a cage." Veilora hesitated. Then, slowly, she smiled, genuine and unguarded. "Perhaps my empire has forgotten something your species remembers." The transfer of planetary authority was completed within the hour. News spread across the court like wildfire. Humanity had not conquered through force, but through restraint. As Elias prepared to leave, Veilora stopped him. "Your kind frightens us," she admitted. "Not because you are brutal. Because you choose not to be." Elias inclined his head. "We've seen what brutality costs." From orbit, the newly claimed world gleamed beneath the stars. A beginning forged not through domination, but empathy. The journey back to Terran space marked a turning point in human history. The Dreadmaw traveled in a specially modified habitat, monitored by xenobiologists and behavioral specialists. It adapted quickly, responding not to commands, but to presence. Trust, once given, deepened. Elias briefed his crew personally. They were no longer explorers skirting the edges of civilization. They were stewards of humanity's first true interstellar territory. Across the galaxy, reactions varied. Some empires scoffed. Others watched carefully. A few began to reconsider long-held doctrines about power and control. On Aurelian Reach, Empress Veilora stood alone on her balcony, gazing at the stars. She replayed the moment the Dreadmaw lowered its head, the moment something ancient within her shifted. Perhaps conquest was not the ultimate expression of strength. On Earth, celebrations erupted when news arrived. A planet gained without war. A future opened through compassion. Children learned the story in schools, not as a tale of victory, but of restraint. Elias returned home quietly, refusing honors. He resumed service, carrying the weight of what he had learned. That survival was not about winning every fight, but knowing when not to fight at all. The Dreadmaw eventually settled into a vast preserve, where it roamed freely under open skies. It was never fully tame, never obedient. It did not need to be. It had chosen. And that choice echoed far beyond one planet, one empire, one species. In the years that followed, humans earned a reputation not as conquerors, but as mediators, healers, and builders. Dangerous not for their violence, but for their refusal to surrender empathy even when faced with fear. The Empress would later record the event in the Valyrian archives with a single line. The human did not tame the predator. He reminded us that monsters are born when compassion is forgotten. And across the stars, humanity took its first step not as rulers of worlds, but as guardians of something far more fragile. Trust.